Live from Waterford and Dungarvan, this is Waterford at 1 News.
Good afternoon, I'm Sinead. Aherne. Today's top stories. Unions representing meat factory workers say they're petrified of contracting the virus. WIT says it'll apply appropriate mitigation for students who cannot resit exams because of COVID. 2 women missing off the coast of Galway have been found alive after spending 15 hours in the water. And in sport, Waterford's Seamus Power's back on the PGA Tour this week. The Oireachtas COVID committee has heard meat factory employees walk a tightrope every day and go to work even if they're sick. Unions representing the workers say they're petrified of contracting the virus, and there's no doubt the industry contains unrivalled vectors for transmitting COVID-19. The special meeting discussing cases in processing plants is hearing from Meat Industry Ireland and the Health and Safety Authority this afternoon. Nora Labo of the Independent Workers Union says there's no reason for workers in meat plants to be at such a high risk of contracting coronavirus.
There is no intrinsic reason why working in a meat plant should be more conducive to contracting COVID than working in any other environment. We are convinced that the reason why Ireland has witnessed so many worrying outbreaks in meat plants in the past months is due to the workers' substandard employment and living conditions, which are the result of the industry's long-term disregard for the well-being of its staff.
Waterford Green Party TD Marco Cosick says the plight of migrant workers is something he raised at the start of the outbreak.
I was kind of dismayed to see as far back as the 19th of March I was talking about the need to address migrant workers, particularly in the case of the COVID crisis, because they were always going to become a reservoir where the disease would hang on unless it was properly treated and properly dealt with.
Waterford Independent TD Matt Shanahan raised the below-cost selling of meat.
Has SIPTU ever looked at trying to go to government and speak about the below-cost selling of meat, which is ultimately a big component in this whole problem? I worked in the meat industry 30 years ago. At that time, we were selling meat at a higher price per kg cuts of meat than we are selling today, 30 years later.
Three patients with coronavirus are being treated at St Luke's Hospital in Kilkenny, according to the HSE's daily operations update. It's the largest number at any hospital in the country. As of 8 o'clock last night, there were a total of 11 confirmed cases in hospitals across the country. There were none at University Hospital Waterford. However, 2 suspected cases at UHW were awaiting the results of COVID testing at the time, and there was 1 suspected case in critical care. A Fianna Fáil councillor and student at Waterford IT says there's still confusion surrounding the repeat exams. Students who failed or deferred exams last Christmas are being asked to attend resits on campus from next week. That's despite all classes and assessments taking place remotely since March. The Vice President for Academic Affairs wrote to students yesterday saying they'll apply mitigation where a student determines that it's not possible to attend the exams due to a COVID-19 reason. Councillor Eamon Quinlan spoke to Maria McCann on Data today.
What's causing the consternation here is that you've got students from all over the southeast and obviously other parts of Ireland who are now saying, well, hang on, because of an exam back in Christmas that I'm doing now in August, I might have to come down from somewhere like Wicklow. I was talking to a few students and a few friends that I know, and they're out there doing them. I'm going to have to maybe take public transport down, like a bus. I'm going to have to maybe book into a hotel and stay in Waterford for 2 or 3 nights, especially doing more than one. I have to, I suppose, attend an in-person exam with other people. The college are saying that the most that'll be in any one room at any one time will be approximately 43 students.
He says they're advising students to wear a mask.
These are high-pressured examinations. Some of the students I'm talking to are doing law exams. Having a mask on your face while trying to navigate the intricacies of whatever you're trying to answer is not great. Also, I suppose they've raised the fact that, the college wants you to self-declare if you've been near anyone within the last 2 weeks who've had an issue of showing symptoms of coronavirus. They want you to self-declare then if you have and sort of excuse yourself from the exam. But if you do, they haven't told you, I suppose, what's going to happen to you then. They've said that actually there'll be some form of mitigation process, but they will decide what that mitigation process is in September.
2 paddleboarders who are missing off the coast of Galway have been found alive. The Galway Aherne says they were found by a local fisherman clinging onto a lobster pot after being reported missing after 10 o'clock last night. They're being brought back to shore after being in the water for 15 hours. The Waterford-based Coast Guard helicopter travelled to Galway this morning to help in the search. Rescue 117 took over from the Shannon and Sligo-based helicopters. A very different August Festival of Racing gets underway in Tramore later this afternoon. 21,000 people attended the 4-day event last summer. However, this year's event's being held behind closed doors due to the coronavirus pandemic. Racecourse manager Owen Byrne spoke to Theresa O'Reilly on the hot desk.
Usually the racecourse would be absolutely full of people setting up marquees, setting up cold rooms for bars, all of that type of activity, getting ready, all the hospitality team getting ready. And we just have literally none of that. We're basically cut to the bone to the industry essential staff, and we run the race meeting firmly behind closed doors, unfortunately. And as usual, it's absolutely beautiful weather outside when no one can come, so it makes it all the more challenging.
Gardaí and County Waterford are investigating after damage was caused to a sports pitch in Dungarvan. It happened at Dungarvan Ladies Hockey Club in the Friary area of Dungarvan between Tuesday night and yesterday morning. Gardaí say no arrests have been made, but that investigations are ongoing. Cashel Corby's from the club.
On first glance of it anyway, it was cut to measure. So I would imagine somebody has somewhere where they were interested in relaying it. So it was specifically cut to a certain size. They obviously rolled it up. And that's when I saw it. I saw something rolled up on the AstroTurf. I thought actually we were going to be given another extra piece of AstroTurf. And then when I went to see it, I saw the damage. But what actually happened to them was they couldn't lift it. So it's a very heavy product. And they obviously cut it, rolled it, and then said, we can't manage to lift this. So it was left.
She says their mini Astro pitch was only laid last year at a cost of €5,000.
We were very lucky, actually. We got the opportunity to buy it this time last year, and we got it laid, and the children have the opportunity to play and to feel underfoot what AstroTurf is all about. Because when we travel away to other clubs and competitions, we're always on AstroTurf. We're one of the only clubs actually left to play on the grit pitch, so the ball travels completely differently, and of course it's a much faster surface. So this little patch of gold, is what I call it, was very, very important to the club, and now it's damaged and ruined.
A thunderstorm warning's been issued for all of Munster. The status yellow alert will take effect at 3 o'clock this afternoon and will run until midnight. Lightning storms knocked out power to around 1,700 homes and businesses in Waterford and South Kilkenny overnight, but ESB networks have restored supply to all affected. Met Éireann forecaster Gavin Gallagher says some areas will be badly hit.
We can expect thunderstorms to develop through Munster this afternoon and evening. Judging by the nature of thunderstorms, not all areas will be impacted, but the areas that do see a thunderstorm, there will be torrential downpours of rain and perhaps hail as well in some areas. And then this very heavy rainfall and hail will lead to spot flooding in some areas.
The chair of Water Safety Ireland in Waterford says there's very little people can do to avoid the weaver fish except staying out of the water at low tide. There have been reports of several people in Waterford stepping on the sandy-coloured fish while swimming in recent days. Lola O'Sullivan says the pain is excruciating as the spines embed into your foot and discharge their poison.
The pain is at the worst for about the first 2 hours. You don't generally see the fish, so you just feel this dart of pain, usually that goes into the foot. If you're in a lifeguarded beach, you go straight to the lifeguards and they will treat you by placing the affected area, usually the foot, in warm water and gradually heating the water as hot as the person can bear over about a 20 to 30 minute period. This increases the blood flow and assists the natural healing. The heat helps to break down the poison.
She advises people to seek medical help if the pain doesn't subside after a few hours.
You can do this yourself, but it should be treated swiftly to reduce the pain. If the pain does not reduce after 2 to 3 hours, you should attend your doctor. Weaver fish are very common in Irish waters. They're particularly common on rocky beaches. There is nothing you can do to avoid them other than not go into the water when the tide is low.
Sports News on WLR.
With Virgin Media Waterford. Want super fast broadband today? Drop into Virgin Media George's Street and take it home with you. Easy as that.
Very good afternoon from the Sports Desk. I'm Nigel Kelly. We will start with golf, and Seamus Power, Shane Lowry and Graham McDowell are all in the field for the Wyndham Championship in North Carolina. McDowell will be the first out after 1 o'clock Irish time, while Power tees off at 5:45 Irish time alongside Bill Haas and Jinjuan Zhang. On the European Tour, Jonathan Caldwell's level par after 4 holes of his first round at the Celtic Classic in Wales. Gavin Moynihan is on 2 over through 8, while Paul McGinley and Cormac Sharvin tee off later. England's Toby Tree leads the way on 4 under calendar. Moving to soccer, and Arsenal midfielder Mesut Ozil says he'll remain at the club until his contract expires next June. Manager Mikel Arteta says the playmaker didn't feature after the restart due to football reasons. In an interview with The Athletic, Ozil says he's going nowhere. Tottenham striker Heung-min Son has won the Premier League Goal of the Season award for his goal against Burnley last December. Meanwhile, former Spurs defender Jan Vertonghen is set to join Benfica on a 3-year deal. The 33-year-old Belgian international is a free agent. Atletico Madrid and RB Leipzig go head-to-head tonight for the right to meet PSG in the semi-finals of the Champions League, with kick-off in Lisbon at 8 o'clock. In Gaelic games, there's a number of minor hurling clashes this evening, with 5 games throwing in at 6:30. Abbeyside and Delasall go to Carrickbeg. Ballygunner and St Bridget's are in Laney Bryan. Clonnaguale and Bricky Rangers take to Stradbally. 4 Mile Water and Anguailtocht to travel to Fraherfield, while Mount Sion and Portlaw are in Welch Park. In rugby, Elliot Daly says it's ended up being a no-brainer to stay at Saracens. He joined fellow England internationals Maro Itoje and Owen Farrell by committing his future to the club. That's despite their relegation from the Premiership for salary cap breaches. Daly revealed that head coach Mark McCall and his assistants played a big part in the decision. And in motorsport, Sergio Perez will return for this weekend's F1 Spanish Grand Prix after returning a negative coronavirus test. The Racing Point driver missed both the British and 70th anniversary races because of COVID-19, and Perez was replaced by Nico Hulkenberg, who impressed last weekend at Silverstone, finishing 7th. Sports news on WLR is thanks to Virgin Media Waterford.